So welcome to part 2 of this Yoga for Golfers video. In part 1 we looked at the anatomy of the spine and some of the movements of the body, and in this second part we're going to focus on some of the practical things, a little golfer's yoga practice that you can do which will really support the movements that you need to make in your body when you perform the golf swing. So these are the practices that we're going to be doing. I've specifically designed this to make it accessible and safe for almost everybody. If you've got any doubt about any of these practices, then please consult your doctor. Again, there's a competitive mentality and this idea of no pain, no gain. Forget that. If you feel any pain in any of these practices, just release from it immediately. That is not the way we practice yoga. So we'll begin. The first position we're going to come into is called the cat position. There's no point doing all this good yoga work with the knees on a hard surface and crocking your knees. So do pad the knees, and the hands are placed on the floor, but notice the hands are in front of the shoulders. So most people don't have a right angle in the wrist, so we're not going to have the hands right under the shoulders and therefore force the wrists beyond their range of movement. Again, as golfers, we need to look after these crucial parts of the body, like the hands and the wrists, when we're doing other things to support golf. So here we are, the hands are in front of the shoulders. I've got the knees hip width apart, I've got the hands shoulder width apart, and then I'm going to spread the fingers and really stretch to the end of each finger so that the hands are in this kind of position. So once you're in this position, think about the spine being neutral, so the back is fairly flat, and then we're simply going to move between this position, which is a back bend, where I'm slightly lifting the head and I'm slightly tilting the pelvis that way so the sit bones are going up towards the ceiling. This is the inhale position. And then as I exhale, I'm going to reverse that position, and I'm going to just follow the breath now. We're going to do this 4 or 5 times. Exhaling, arching up. This is like a cat. Just think of an angry cat. And then when you breathe in, soften the spine, open the back into a little bit of back bend. Inhaling and exhaling. So we're just going to extend the cat movement by extending a leg out and tucking the toes under. And in this position, what you can do is just bend the knee and roll over the toes, and then extend the leg straight, push the heel away. That will give you a stretch through the calf muscles, rolling over the toes. That's the inhale, that's the exhale. And then if it feels okay, this is a good place to mobilize the toes because there's not a lot of weight going through them. We can do a little bit of rotating the heel and rolling over the toes. So that's the second version of cat. The third version of cat is, as we breathe in and bring the spine into its back bend, you're going to extend the right leg. And just getting the right leg straight would be absolutely fine. You don't need to lift it really high. That's the in-breath. As you exhale, you can either take the knee back down to the floor, or you can bring it through to finish that exhale. And then we'll do that on the other side. And you can do that 3 times on each side. And then we just put in our first twist. So hands slightly in front of the shoulders, as we've said, and maybe a little bit more for this one. And then we're going to take it in turns. So I'm going to take the left hand underneath the right arm, and I'm just taking the left shoulder down towards the floor. I'm going to not rest the head on the floor. If you're going all the way down, you might end up taking weight into the neck. So just drop the left shoulder down, and then as you inhale, come up, and then exhale, going the other way. So we're just beginning to put a little bit of this rotational movement into the spine. The next practice, we're going to be lying on our back. Bring the knees in, we'll take a little rock from side to side. This is to release the spine. And then we're going to take one hand on each knee, and we're just going to do some slow circling into the hips. So in golf and walking between shots, there's a lot of front to back movement of the legs. There's very little movement through the whole of the ball and socket of the hips. And this is an important joint to keep mobile, because restriction of movement in the hip joint is correlated with lower back pain, and lower back pain is another scourge of club golfers. Just to give the front view of that in case the side view wasn't clear, and I've just changed direction. So we do this with the breath, breathing in and breathing out. When you do this practice, if you can do all your breathing in and out through the nose, it will slow the breath down. It will make the practice more mindful and a little bit more effective. We're going to keep the knees in over the chest, but you could place the feet on the floor. So I'll show you both. As we breathe in, we're going to take the arms overhead, and I'm softening the shoulders, the elbows and the hands, and exhale, bring the arms back. So this is a little bit of shoulder release, and it's also going to bring a little bit of back bend into the thoracic area that we are focusing on. Exhale, arms back down. And then either keeping the feet there or keeping the knees in. This is a stronger version. This is inhale, and then as you exhale, when the hands get level with the knees, you're going to pull the navel in towards the spine, and you're just going to reach beyond the knees. Resist the temptation to grab the thighs. Inhale, head down, arms overhead. Remember, you can do this with the feet on the floor. I'll show you that one. Exhale. When you get to here, pull the navel in and then curl up. It's really important that you pull the navel in before you try to lift the shoulders. If you just lift the shoulders without pulling the navel in first, you'll strengthen your rectus abdominis, which is a superficial abdominal muscle. If you pull your navel in first, you'll activate transversus abdominis, which is the most important core muscle. It's 3 layers down from that rectus sheath, and it's important that that is engaged, and we want the habit of engaging that. So that's mobilised the shoulders, giving us a little bit of back bend and strengthen the core. We're at the end of line 2 here. Now we're going to come into a twist. We'll take the arms out at shoulder height, and then as you exhale, the feet are on the floor. I'm going to take the feet over to the right and roll the head the same way as the feet and leave the shoulders behind. And then on an inhale, bring the knees and the head to center, and on an exhale, roll the knees to the left, turn the head to the left. As you can see or may have worked out, this is replicating the movement in the backswing. But the advantage of doing it like this, lying on the back, is there is absolutely no gravitational vertical pressure down through the spine. So all your discs are at their most spread out, and the floor helps us to keep the spine long. So this is a really safe and effective place to practice these twisting movements and build flexibility into your spine. If you want to work more strongly, you could do those twists with the knees lifted, but once you get over to around here and you run out of twist, do take the feet down onto the floor. The other thing to guard against is if I'm taking the legs to the right, that left shoulder needs to stay on the mat, on the floor. If that left shoulder's lifting up, I've run out of twist, and really there's no point doing that. So think of the shoulders as the foundation, and then you're using the knees and the hip turn to create the twist in the thoracic spine. Remember that lower back doesn't twist, so as you take the knees over, the legs go over, the hips go over, the lower back gets pulled round, and we just leave the thoracic spine behind, and that accommodates a twist for us and helps us keep the shoulders onto the floor. Make sure you do an even number right side and left side. That's also a good thing for golfers to do because our twisting movement tends to be only in one direction. So our next practice will take away any support under the back of the head, because we're going to press through the feet and just lift the pelvis up into the air. I'm very happy to see people that I teach get the hips, the shoulders and the thighs and the knees all in the same line. There is the possibility of lifting the hips a little bit higher and going into a back bend here, but the main purpose of this movement is to strengthen the quads for our stance when addressing the ball, and also to engage the core. So if you just press your fingertips into the abdomen, you'll notice that your core muscles all the way around this lower abdominal area are working really hard to hold the spine in this lifted position. So it's a good core strengthener. And we might hold this for around 5 breaths, or fewer or more, depending on your level of physical fitness. And when you've done enough of that, just hug the knees in and rock from side to side. So we come up to standing to do the last few practices of the sequence. And as we stand and look down at our feet, we want to make sure the feet are hip width apart. With the toes facing forward, also feel as if you are engaging through your legs to avoid this pattern of rounding the back. So the more you lift up and engage through the centre, the more you will improve your posture in daily life and in terms of your golf swing. And then the second practice is a squat that I promised you earlier. And as we bend the knees, you're going to just make sure that the kneecaps don't go beyond the toes. That's enough. So what we've done is maintained everything the same in the spine. So we've just folded at the hip crease and flexed the knees. You can see that more easily from the side. And we can hold this for a while. If you get tired, just straighten the legs, relax the quads for a moment, and then come back in. And then we're going to either bring the palms together or have the palms facing forwards. And we're going to exhale and twist. We're not going to move the head, we're not going to move the hips. We're going to use the legs and the core to resist. We're just going to turn the shoulders, inhale back to center, and exhale, turning the other way. And you can see what we're doing there is directly mimicking the movement of the golf swing, but now we're doing this twist, this third twist in the practice, in the standing position. Because of that, there's a little bit more compression on the spine, so we want to be really sure that we are supporting the spine from within. You can do as many of those twists and squats, standing squats, as you like. And what we're going to do now is 2 things. We're going to add a little balancing practice into this sequence, and we're also going to use the golf ball to release the foot. We did a little bit of work on the toes earlier, so this time I'm going to bend the right knee, shift the weight into the left, and take the right heel onto the floor, and then just move the foot over the golf ball. And this pressure can be very, very light. We can do it side to side, we can do it up the inner arch, up the outer arch. And then you can just press a little more firmly in different parts of the foot. And this is a really effective way of releasing the foot. And when you've done enough of that, if you just come back to your standing position, you'll immediately feel the difference in that right foot compared with the left. And indeed, you may feel the effect all the way up the leg. It really helps us to awaken the foot and feel more connected to the ground. So then you would do the other side in exactly the same way. And when you've done both feet, what you'll find is that there's a real sense of connection down to the floor through the feet. The feet have been awakened. And you want to take that feeling into your golf game when you're on the first tee to really feel that you are connecting down to the ground. You're going to use the ground and the resistance there to create your fantastic golf swing. Okay, thank you very much for watching the videos, and I hope you enjoy doing that Yoga for Golfers practice. If you would like a copy of this practice on paper, you can maybe do a screen grab from the video, or my email is on the credits to this video at the end. Email me and I will be very happy to send you a PDF of the practice. So enjoy the practice, enjoy the yoga, and most of all, enjoy the golf. Thanks for watching.